like to talk to you today about being an atmosphere setter. I've been very encouraged. We're with a pastor this week that we knew him when he was a teenager. His wife also we knew as a teenager and came work with us. It's neat to be in the ministry long enough that you get to see this perpetual things go on, and you get to see somebody again after years and years. And the thing that the preacher said to me that made me want to teach on this morning was, he said, your whole family has such a spirit. You know, you just bring with you such a spirit. And I thought, boy, praise God for that. And so I thought I would like to encourage you all out there to be a spirit, not a spooky spirit, not a negative spirit, but a positive spirit, and be an atmosphere setter. The Bible talks about an atmosphere setter, and I think her name was Deborah. The Bible talks about her in Judges 4 through 14, where it said that Barak said unto her, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go, but if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. So she said, I will surely go with thee. And so she went up and went with him. And she was a positive person, and she said, we can do this. And you can tell in verse 14, Deborah said unto Barak, Up, for this is the day in which the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. She was saying to him, you can do this. This can happen, And God used a prophetess in that Judges 4. Deborah's name means bee, which is the highest in the animal kingdom. And bees are very well known for their hard work. So Deborah was an atmosphere setter. And I'm going to give you the reasons why I think she was an atmosphere setter. Number one, she practiced being positive-minded. Now, I think that there's some liberals out there that have made us feel like we don't want to be positive-minded. We don't want to talk positive-minded. But let me just tell you, I think there's a lot of times when God works in positive ways and wants us to be scriptural minded, not positive minded. Colossians 3:23, and whatsoever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. When I go out to set up the carnival, which we do every week of our lives, can I tell you, it gets old to me? And I could easily just say, I got to do this again. Maybe some of you feel that way when you go do a junior church service or do your bus route, or you have to psych yourself up to say, you know what, I get to do this for the Lord, and this is hard work. And I can, I remember last Thursday night, it was hot. It was 100 degrees out, and we were starting to put the carnival away, and I said, Lord, I got to do this for you, and you got to help me do it. And I want to do it with all my might. And I was literally running, putting stuff away because I wanted to get it done quickly, number one, so I can go take a shower. I was sweating. I was so wet from being outside so long. But I really mean that. If you're going to be an atmosphere setter, you got to do everything heartily as to the Lord. Number two, someone that's an atmosphere setter is someone who's wanted for the battle because her spirit would be profitable. And as I read in verse 8, it says, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. If people want you around, it's because you're pleasant to be with. Sometimes you ladies out there, you're so self-conscious about yourselves that you neglect to be what others around you need. I'm reminded of a story. I was with at a church that we'd been to many, many times. And I had watched this young man develop. Every year we'd go back, or every other year we'd go back, and I'd seen this young man, and I said to him, I see you are more confident. And I said, you seem to have a direction and know where you're going. It wasn't even an hour later, he came up to me and he said, Miss Walker, thank you for saying that to me. That really meant a lot to me. And I'm reminded of another young man that I met in a church in Michigan, and the Lord just directed me to reach out to him. I'm not saying I always reach out to young men. There's probably stories of ladies too, but this young man, I just zeroed in on him and bragged on him as he was helping us wash tarps out in the church parking lot. And God used me to be an encouragement to him. His mother told me later, and every time I go back there, it's the first thing, he's one of the first people that comes in and wants to volunteer to help us. And he's going in the right direction. He didn't have a father. And it's just exciting. So if you're a profitable person, then it's because you have a spirit of wanting to meet needs around you instead of being so self-conscious. Got a lot more to say about being an atmosphere setter. Tune back in tomorrow so I can teach you a couple more things about it, and rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice.